talk to me. Where are you with your business? How many clients do you have?
I have four.
Okay.
I have
And
four
they're
sites that
paying
are
client.
rented
They're
out.
paying right now, right?
Yeah.
How many websites do you have built?
I have about 10 websites or so. Yeah.
And where are they in the ranking process?
Some of them are ranking fairly well, but I just don't think they're great niches. Like some of them are like in the drywall niche. Like I don't know, for some reason I jumped into the drywall niche, and
Yeah, I don't like
it's
that
just
one.
it hasn't been a great niche to go into. I
Yeah.
have a couple drywall niches rented out, and then I have a tree service and a concrete one rented out. But I want to kind of get away from the drywall because I've been having a hard time with that niche, and so I'm trying to explore different niches and building out more sites. And I don't know, like I'm in Canada, and a lot of my markets have been in Canada. And I don't know if it's like a Canadian thing, but I really want to try to build out more lead gens, in the US. It just seems like it's a more lucrative market down there. And so, yeah, that's kind of like the direction I want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no reason why you can't have like American websites being built while you're in Canada. I was in Spain for a while, and we were kind of growing our business. It's always easier if you do local, but I get it. Like Canada, here's the thing: is like everything in Canada is going to be like, not everything. A lot of things, if you go into the contractor space, you're going to have a lot more seasonal stuff to deal with because like all of Canada is going to be cold in the winter, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
so if you're in like landscaping in Canada, then it's like, well, the entire winter is going to be gone. Whereas if you chose Georgia or something like that, like it'll probably slow down. But or maybe concrete is a better example, right? Like it's going to be hard to do concrete in the middle of the Canadian winter, but like people can still get driveways or something installed in Georgia or Texas or someplace like that, right? So
yeah, and that's the problem I've been running into too. Is like if it's a very seasonal market up here, so
yeah, absolutely. And there are certain niches. I don't like drywall. I don't know what it is with drywall. And there's like stereotypes that exist within niches, and it's like those are stereotypes, but they also exist for a reason on some level. I've heard this a number of times, and I'm not sure why. Like maybe this is just my own small sample size that of people I've interacted with, but it seems like there's a lot of drug addiction that follows along with drywall, and it's really hard for people to find like good clients. And that,
I would have to agree with that. Yeah.
So what I would look for in the niches. Something that has at least an average ticket cost of $1,000. I would probably prefer like $2,000 though. So when you talk about like landscaping and concrete, that I think that both of those would be there. Just make sure if you go into concrete, you stay away from repair, right? If you're going into like repair stuff, then that's probably not going to work out so well long term. I like it when it's obscure. You've chosen things that are kind of mainstream, the landscaping and concrete. So earlier, Brian talked about septic. I think that's a little bit more obscure, and I tend to like those better. I think you're going to have less competition. So if you can kind of like put your thinking cap on, if you go to let me share my screen real quick. If you go to like Thumbtack, I don't know if you guys might not have this up north, but here we have this site called Thumbtack. It's really good for finding niches. So if you can kind of like go here and then click on more, then you have this like huge list of niches to consider. So this is where they're selling leads, right? So if I'm going through this, and I'm just going to rattle through some of these above ground pool installers, that seems like that might be expensive. Appliance installation, probably not so much. I don't like this one. That's too like kind of like professional, where you're gonna like, I don't know. I feel like they're gonna lend themselves to be more towards like SEO deals. Asbestos removal, that seems like it could be good. I like these ones that, like I said, that are obscure, and also they keep the riffraff out. Like there's not like a lot of people are like, hey, I'm gonna go start a asbestos removal company. There's like equipment and that's I mean, there's a lot of risk that needs to be mitigated when you do something like this, and that weeds a lot of people out. Remodeling, that looks good. I don't know much about this like asphalt. I stay away from things that say repair. I think that's not going to be, I think that's just going to be lower quality leads and it's going to be harder to close people. This looks like I mean, maybe it's expensive, but it kind of feels like it could be cheap. Carpet installation, too cheap. Repair, too cheap. This one is a little bit dangerous, I think. Air conditioning can be really competitive. There's also like some hidden monsters hiding in the air conditioning stuff. So one of the first ones that I built was an HVAC site for Las Vegas. And I thought, well, great. This is because like Las Vegas is really hot and we'll get a lot of leads, but it's also moderate in the winter. And a lot of people, they're not going to replace their furnace. They're going to go and get a bunch of space heaters and just deal with it for a couple months rather than like they're going to wait until their air conditioner goes out to replace their system. So, I would go through this list. I'm not going through all this, but look at all the things that are on here. And then a second thing that you can do is just when you're driving around, be looking at all the trucks and stuff in the stores and constantly be thinking about niches and why they could be good, why they, try to shoot a hole in it. Like, why is this a bad niche? And don't spend too much. I say that with a little bit of hesitation because I don't want you to have like analysis paralysis where you're like, okay, this isn't good enough. This isn't good enough. You can ask around too. You could shoot me a message and I'll give you my thought process on it. But so you've got these 4 sites. And it sounds like how many sites of these 10 sites that you have built, how many of them are in drywall?
1, 2, 3, 4 out of the 10.
So you've got 6 that are not drywall.
Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like of those 6, are those all a mix of concrete and landscaping?
Concrete and tree removal. And
okay.
And I think I have like a landscaping one that landscape design. That's not really ranking yet.
Yeah. So here's what I would do is I would like those 4, just put those the drywall ones. I would just put those on the shelf for right now and say, hey, maybe we'll come back to these. Maybe spend like 10% of your work time focused on those and 90% focused on the ones that we're going to go through and choose the right cities and the right niches. And then you have your 90 days is like, let's come up with, you've got 6 sites that are maybe in good niches from what it sounds like, but they're in the process of ranking. So the 4 clients, are the 4 clients a part of those 6 sites?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the 4 clients that you have, I would kind of look at the opportunities to expand those, because if you had 4 good clients that are paying you, let's say your clients are paying you $2,500 a month, that would be $10,000 a month. You need to understand you don't have to answer this question, Alex, but if you're comfortable, then answer it. But what is the number that you need to quit your job per month?
I've thought about this a lot. I would say if I could get like to 20,000 a month.
Okay.
Like gross revenue, and then there's going to be expenses in there, obviously. But if I could get to 20,000 a month, then I could definitely, retire from my job.
Yeah. So, do you? I think are you married with 2 kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, like, depending on where you are, this is maybe not for you because, but this advice maybe would be good for somebody else. So, like, depending on where you are. Alex has kids and a wife that he needs to take care of, or like, I don't know if your wife's working and we don't need to get into that, but the point is you want to like work backwards and choose a number that is going to support your situation. When I was working as a software engineer, I was making more money than I needed, and I wasn't married and I didn't have kids. And I thought that I had to match my existing income before I could quit my job, which in retrospect, that was a big mistake because I stayed doing the job way longer than I needed to do. And once I finally was out of the job, my revenue and my income exploded, because then I could put my good time into it, my full time, right? So I don't want anyone to go into a situation where they are putting their family at risk. So you need to come up with that number and make it be the number that you need, not the number that maybe your current job is. If after you've proven the business model, right? So if you don't have money coming in, then like, don't quit your job, right? You need to like prove the business model, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you've got your 4 clients. So, and my understanding is those 4 clients are at least 4 of the 6 sites that you have built that are not drywall sites. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
And so they're each paying me about $1,000 a month. So, you know, I'm at, you know, 4,000, you know, revenue, monthly revenue, right?
So here's what I would be doing is I want to take those people that are paying you $1,000 a month, like 90-day goal. How do we get them to $2,000 a month? Okay. So that will get you 40% of the way there to your $20,000 goal. You'll still have $12,000 remaining. Make sure that that $20,000 is done with math and not just like a guess. Be very systematic with that, right? Tie it emotionally. Picture the life that you want, what you need. And then it should be a calculation. The fact that it's like $20,000 instead of like $19,000, 376, like sounds more like maybe it was a little bit of a guess. I would encourage you to do the math and actually justify the exact number for what it needs to be. And then it will be very like tied to your brain on like, okay, this is the number and this is why. And this is like getting this number means this, because I've already worked the math, right? So if I want to travel around the world and do all this and it's going to cost me $24,000 a month, then I'm like, okay, I need like 12 sites at $2,000 a month. Maybe I need to build 30 sites to get to 12. Okay. So, I think it is, I don't want to like put I don't want to like dampen your dream or anything like that, but I think maybe unrealistic that you go from 4,000 to 20,000 over the next 90 days. But what we can do is we can position things so maybe the following 90 days we can get there. So it's really, we got to build the structure first, right? So okay. So
like I'm not like in a huge rush. Like I know everyone says, you know, money loves speed, but it's not like I need to get there in 90 days, but I'd like to be on that path, you know? And I think that's why I was asking you early about prospecting, because I'm getting more confidence in my sales, but I just need to get in front of more people though, right?
Maybe yes, maybe no. Like if you have, I know, like I said, it's a split. I don't like, I respect people who think differently about this, but my belief is that building and getting the assets to generate leads and then selling them is a better way to go. But I know a lot of people will go and pre-sell, and that's awesome if that works for you. Just been my experience that where I really start to put more money in my bank is when I have something that's producing and I can sell that. Because if I pre-sell it, then I have to run ads, or I have this person that's like breathing down my neck and I'm spending most of the money that they've paid me to build and get the stuff coming in anyway. So it's like, what's left? And you're in a higher pressure situation. So if you want to pre-sell things, then prospecting would be the right thing to do. If you want to build things, then prospecting will come after you've got the stuff coming in, and sales. Like Alex, you've expressed that, hey, I'm getting more comfortable with sales. And I'll tell you, this is always the example I go back to is like, hey, Alex, I've got this Ferrari I want to sell you. It's red. It's really fast. It's in great shape. It's awesome. It's $100,000. Do you want to buy this? Like, I'll show you the keys. You can't see the Ferrari, but it's an awesome car. Trust me. Or, hey, Alex, here's my Ferrari. Go drive it around for a week and tell me if you like it. And then if you do, we can come up with a deal where you can buy it. Right. So that's kind of like my opinion of like pre-sell versus like the difficulty to sell the car without the car being there, which like we had a lot of success with this. We had a hard time delivering in time to keep the client happy. That's where we struggled. But when you already have the stuff coming in, the leads are high quality, the close becomes so much easier, right? So I'm a big proponent of having the Ferrari before I try to sell it. So, okay. So this is what I want you to do is, you need to lay the groundwork. And I don't want, like, we don't want to build off. Like, I could probably tell you that if you had 60 sites, then you could, and all these sites are ranking, you're going to have a pretty easy time if you've chosen the right niche to get to 20,000. But like, when you're starting to build houses, you don't want to build 60 houses and then say, okay, let me go rent all these 60 houses. What you want to do is you want to build like 10 houses and get those rented, and then build 10 more, because the second set of 10 is going to be better than the first set of 10. You might get to build all 60 of those houses and you discovered you didn't put any toilets in these houses, and you're like, oh my God, I got to go back and do all this again, right? So run around the bases one time. I know you're Canadian, but baseball, right? Run around the bases, right? Get all the way back.
No, I get it.
Get all the way back to home. So we understand we're going to learn a lot from those first 10. And I know you've already got your first 10, right? With the 6 and the 4, you've already learned that, hey, maybe drywall. Imagine you had built 60 drywall sites, right? And now you're like, I don't really like drywall, right? So what I would recommend is choose a few niches for this first round. Ultimately, where I want you to go is I want you to choose 1 or 2 niches. That is just going to be your niche. And you're not going to really build in these other niches. There's so many different benefits associated to niching down, but don't niche down until you have, it's a buffet right now. Like, try a little bit of this and a little bit of that and say, okay, I like this one. I'm just going to go with this one for now. Some of the benefits that we've seen from niching down is like tight. A lot of these niches are like tight communities. So we get a ton of referrals because people are friends with other people, but they're not in the same city. They're not competing against each other. We understand exactly the types of pain points that people have. We understand the leads. Our content writers know the content. We know where to get backlinks. We can give ourselves backlinks because we have so many sites in similar niches, right? So there is a lot of benefits, but don't do that too soon. You got to like understand things first. So I would say you need to get, get to 14 sites. So you pick 10 sites, 10 new sites. So and I'm basically saying the 4 that you have, you've got 6 that are in good niches. So get to 16 sites. So you've got 10 sites.
Yeah.
And I would say some of these sites should be in, maybe choose like 3 or 4 different niches, right? And spend a good amount of your time working on these ones that are in good niches, especially the ones that you have clients for. So set yourself a goal of like, how do I justify $2,000 a month from these 4 clients that are paying me $1,000? Like, what do I need to do? Like, if I'm in concrete and the lead is worth $40 a lead, and I'm sending like 25 leads to them, so that justifies $1,000. I need to get to 50 if they're going to pay me 2,000, right? How do I get to 50? So, okay, I'm in this city. They said they'll also service this other city, or maybe I need to improve the heat map average of this city from 7 to 3. If I can get to 3, then I know that I'm going to be getting a lot more leads. The way that I'm going to get to 3 is I need to get more reviews. I maybe need a second GMB here. I need more citations, like all these different things. So kind of work backwards from that. You gotta, but strategically choose this and kind of plan it out, right? You sound like you're a really smart guy. So I think you could come up with this. So you're going to choose some new niches, new sites, and then you're going to mix that with focusing on these. So for your 10 new sites, I would be looking at like populations maybe between 250 and 500,000, around there. I'd be setting up like probably, if you're in that population range, I'd be probably setting up between like 3 and 5 GMBs. I would be getting reviews on all those sites, start them off with like 10 pages and then add content onto those, right? You want your backlinks. You got to make sure that you have a solid backlink. Maybe you want to have, if you're using Ahrefs, maybe you want to have like at least like a 20 URDR. If you've done your due diligence well, then the other people that are in that market shouldn't have really strong backlinks, right? They shouldn't have a ton of reviews because you've essentially lowered the bar because you've done your due diligence well, right? So as I've used this analogy a lot. If I'm playing basketball, I'm 6'2". So if I'm playing against other people that are 6'2", I'm going to probably win some, lose some. But if I can go and find like people that are 3 feet tall, like on a third grade playground, and I'm like, hey, you can't tell me I can't play here because I can build a website anywhere. Well, it's going to be really hard for these guys to beat me because I'm taller, a lot taller than them, right? So that's what it's like choosing the right market. So choose the weaker markets, but have the high ticket cost, make sure that the population is there, get those 10 sites. And I think if you do those things, if you get multiple GMBs, you get enough reviews and citations, you get your heat map average, you're going to start to get a lot of leads coming in, and that's going to make it easy to sell this stuff to whoever you find. Also, when you're in that 250 to 500,000, it's kind of like a population. It's kind of like it's kind of a sweet spot where there's a lot of demand, there's a lot of clients, but there's not so much that you're going to run into like some big sharks, right? So, is this giving you some direction?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, a little bit more specific. I do have some niche ideas. I kind of wanted to bounce off you a little later, maybe, but yeah, like just being specific about the market size. And I mean, there are issues that I run into, like finding GMBs, like everybody, I guess, like getting those GMBs verified and things like that seems to be a challenge. I've been trying to do the Craigslist and the Facebook posts, but maybe I need to tweak that a little bit to try and get those postcards out and get those GMBs verified. I mean, it seems like the GMBs are quite critical in this business, but would you say it's hard to make this work if you don't have a GMB, or would you think differently?
Definitely, you need a GMB. I would say it's hard to make it work without one. Here's the problem that I think people run into when they think about GMBs is they're like, hey, these are the methods that people have come up with, like Craigslist and stuff like that, and the Facebook groups. And those are the methods that I have to use to get a GMB, but that's not it. Your goal, Alex, how can you find someone who's local in a city? That's the real question. And then like, if you can solve that, like, and there's a million ways to do it, right? And like, if you put all your entrepreneurial power towards like, I'm going to solve this problem, how can I locate local people in any city? Because if you can do that, then it's like, that's the real challenge. So if you can get these people on a phone, on a call, and just say, hey, I have to have a postcard mailed. It's not illegal. This is what it is. I'll pay you $50. Do you think you could do this? If not, no worries. Like there's so many different ways that you can do this. It's just like, how can you connect with someone locally? Right. You could, I mean, you could reach out to people that are looking for work on Craigslist. Like you could make a post on Craigslist, but there's also there's a resume section where these people are desperate that are like, hey, I've got to feed my kid this week. Like, oh, do you want $50 for this postcard? Can I mail this to you? Yeah. Like, just like,
actually, I never thought of that.
I just kind of came up with
college job boards too. Same
job
thing.
boards.
Yeah, college in particular, because they're renters most of the time. In town.
What if you made a post on Craigslist that said, hey, I'm willing to pay someone $100 to pass out flyers, or maybe it's like, pass out these flyers. I'll share this recorded phone number with you. For everyone that calls, I'll give you $5, right? And like, you could have, like, they could pass out flyers in an apartment complex at a college. Maybe you could find someone out of college to post something on a job board that says, hey, looking for local people for quick money, or something, whatever it is. It's like, I'm just kind of shooting from the hip here, right? If you just sat and thought about this for like 4 hours, you could probably come up with like 25 ideas. And most of these places, you need like 3 GMBs, if you like, or 5, right? So sometimes when you get one, you'd be like, hey, we always do this. Whenever we get one, it's like, do you have some friends? We'd be willing to like pay, if you can I'll give you $50 for each one of your friends that you get. And like, maybe they're just not even going to pay their friend something, or maybe they're going to cut their friend down in the action. I don't really care. What I want is the postcard. So like, you could have them solve the problem. You could post on Indeed, right? Like, it's just, once you start thinking about, there's a million ways. You got to get the GMB. it's critical. Just spend the time thinking about it. And, like this, think about this, there's $20,000 in your freedom from your job at the other side of this.
Yeah.
That's what's holding you back, essentially, is like, can I like solve these like series of problems that have been solved a bunch of times, right? It's certainly something you can do.
Yeah. No, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah. No, those are some good ideas.
Also, here's another idea for you. You can buy an RV and go and stay in RV parks and then have them mailed there. That's what we've been doing. It's working out really well. Might be a more expensive way. Okay, cool. Alex, here's what I want to do. I'm going to challenge you. Alex, are you on month to month on LeadSnap, or did you pay for a yearly thing?
I think I'm on month to month right now.
Okay, I'll make you a deal. So I will give you the next month free if you can give me a satisfactory plan on what you're going to do. You've got to come up with a plan of like, here's the niches, here's the sites, and here's what I'm going to get them to, right? So have the qualifiers of like, how many pages, what's the backlink profile, like choose one of those things that's going to measure it. How many GMBs, how many reviews per GMB? Give me a breakdown of all the different sites that you're going to build, the cities, the niches, maybe even have the don't buy the domains yet. Just get the cities and the niches, because like I may have some feedback that could alter this, and I don't want you to buy the domain and then waste your money if we go a different direction. But come up with that game plan. Also, give me the game plan on how you're going to get the GMBs. Come up with some ideas of what you're going to do, right? And then, so do that. Send me a message in Facebook Messenger, and sound good?
Yeah, no, yeah, great. Yeah, no, I'm totally motivated to do that. I'll definitely do that.
Awesome.